up, everybody? Welcome back to the Formula America podcast. We're your hosts, Kurt and Dylan. Today, we have a very special episode. We're trying something new. This is the Formula America After Dark. And not only do you get myself and Dylan, but today joining us, we have a very special guest, friend of the show. This guy is not only an avid sim racer, he is an actual semi-amateur race car driver and a huge Formula One fan. Welcome to the show, Mr. Abel Hernandez.
Yo, thank you for having me. Thank you for the Formula America fan base for having to deal with my ugly face. I do have a question though, because when I was asked to be on the podcast, the text message that I received sort of insinuated that I was not suitable for daytime TV broadcasting. I was going to have to be put on the After Dark series, and I assume it's only that because this is what I was asked to do. So I'm glad that I got whatever hour I was allowed to be on, whether if it's at the 3 a.m. after all the commercials are finally done or the infomercials. I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here.
You know what's funny is there's actually a few of our listeners have messaged me and they know me from another YouTube channel that I have with you, Abel. So those people will understand why you're on the After Dark, because you are unfiltered and probably not suitable for morning time consumption.
No, and that's pretty cool that's actually happened, because I know that because I edit all of the F&G stuff, and I know that I'm not suitable for our own channel over there because I have to edit myself out in the background, the things that I say. But nobody knows how passionate and unhinged I can really get when it comes to certain things about Formula One. I do get very, very upset, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah, and I will say the reason
Abel,
why
Go ahead, Kurt.
I was going to say the reason why I thought this would be perfect is because Dylan, I don't think you see it, but Abel has messaged me multiple occasions, essentially cussing me out on why we are not, or why we're glossing over the fact that the FIA is trying to screw Max Verstappen out of a championship this entire freaking season, basically yelling at us for not talking about it enough. And so I figured, why not come on here and talk about it yourself?
I was driving to Vegas. I was driving to Vegas once, and I had my car in the back. I'm headed out for a race, and I'm listening. And typically, what I'll do is I'll wait, and I'll just bunch up, like, let's say 3 or 4 episodes, and I'll wait till I go. Typically for a track weekend for me, because that's when I drive the most, and I'll listen to all of them. And this one happened to be in real time. This was like for the race or post race, and you guys just completely missed all of the things that I would have said. And it's like, my blood is boiling and I am pissed. And I try calling him and he doesn't answer. So I just start texting him. I start firing off messages. I was like, what are you guys even doing? Like, why are you even there if you're not going to take a strong stance against like the FIA and what needs to be said? What's the purpose of this? I was so pissed off.
I'm pretty sure you threatened to start your own podcast.
I usually go off the rails on the same things most of the time. So I'm like, okay, I've already discussed how much I don't like George Russell. I probably don't need to continue to harp on that topic. We'll just move on.
It's not true. We should totally always continue to harp on how much we hate George Russell.
I think, all right, so we're all aligned there. If you guys haven't noticed, Abel is also a Max Verstappen fan like Dylan. None of us, I think, enjoy George Russell.
Some of us are just more cultured.
Some of us like actual real drivers like Lando Norris. We'll get into that. But so a quick format here. What we're going to do, we're going to basically talk about and react to some of the more controversial or off the wall takes that we found on either the Formula One subreddits or the Formula One Facebook groups or Instagram. We've got quite a few of these, and I'm just kind of interested to see what we all think about some of these, because some of them kind of make a little sense. Some of them are just flat out stupid.
Well, all right, Kurt, hang on. Before we jump into that, because Abel, you and I have texted a little bit, but I'd love to hear your Formula One history background. I know you're a Max fan, but like, when did you get into it? Like, what's your F1 side?
All right, so you're gonna love this. Okay, first of all, the whole fan base is gonna love this. I'm a Drive to Survive baby. Okay, so I watched Formula One many times before that. And just like anybody else, I thought, I couldn't I just couldn't get into it 100% because I just didn't know enough about it at the time. And I've always been into racing, but like GT3 kind of caught my focus a lot more. Cars in general caught my focus a lot more. And then Drive to Survive happened, and I was just like, okay, this is amazing. And then Kurt was like really into it, so then I just got really into it. So this is like probably year 5 for me being into Formula One. So you're not going to catch me quoting stats about Fernando Alonso scratching his balls in his very first race. I'm just not going that far back. It's just not how far back I go. But for the past 5 years, I have been very much into Formula One, and obviously racing in general. I do race myself. It's an actual just production vehicle, but there is a lot.
It's a Mazda Miata.
Exactly. There's a lot of crossover there, obviously, between the fastest cars that humans have ever produced, right? It's pretty much the same thing. So
Exactly.
that's pretty much my story, though. So the comment section is gonna love that one.
Awesome. And you're a Max and a Red Bull fan, or what's your
Oh yeah, so
other? Who's your
that's
other?
it.
Who's your other
I'm not a
drivers'
Red Bull
teams?
fan. I'm not a Red Bull fan. I'm a Max
Fair,
Verstappen
fair.
fan. From day one, I've been a Max Verstappen fan because he tells the truth. He tells it like it is when he's on the mic. He's not trying to play the sponsor game. He's not trying to play the family game, in terms of like being family friendly on the microphone and what he says. He just says what he means. And if he doesn't like it, he just doesn't answer. And I respected that from the beginning. And so win or lose, I follow Max because I think he's the only one that really makes any sense when he talks. So yeah.
Amen to that. All right, Kurt, rock and roll.
All right, so I say on that, let's dive right into our first one, which happens to be about Mr. Max Verstappen. And this one comes from the Formula One subreddit. So it says, I'm going to say something straight.
You sent this one earlier, and it already pisses me off.
Yep, I'm going to say something straight. A lot of people might disagree, but this is my opinion. He goes on to say, y'all overrate Max Verstappen. He's goated in a lot of your opinions, but I don't think he's top 5 ever. And here's why. He hasn't had a good teammate where he's had to fight race to race like most greats have. He's had it easy with the team and the car wrapped around him. He's won 4 titles at Red Bull, but so has Vettel, and Vettel wasn't goated. At least he went to Ferrari and nearly won the title twice there. Max has just stayed at Red Bull, a team he knows inside and out and can basically get what he wants. If he left and went to another team and won again, then I'd respect his skills and say he's up there. So basically saying that Max is not the GOAT that a lot of people suspect that he is because he's been coddled by Red Bull this whole time.
I think that his reasoning is super flawed. He's not the GOAT because he hasn't had a teammate that can keep up with him yet. Yeah, that's generally how that works.
That's really when you're winning. That's like saying, well, you haven't had somebody who's better than you yet, so you're not really that good. It's like, isn't that how winning works in general? If they're behind me, doesn't that mean that I'm better and I win, which kind of makes me better than everybody? I mean, I don't know if that's. I don't know what logic or what math this guy is using to come up with that calculation.
It's like the Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg being like, oh, well, they had to battle it out, so Lewis is better. And it's like, well, I mean, Lewis did prove he's better than Nico over time, but like, I don't think that really matters. I think that's harder on the Constructors' Championship than it is on the individual.
Yeah, but they also didn't have a Lando and a Piastri following directly behind them, completely messing up that order. So it's not like it's the same thing. I mean, okay, so let's trade in one contender in the passenger in the other seat, the second seat at the Red Bull for, I don't know, like the entire top 6, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he doesn't have any real competition when he's out there. He's got competition. It's just not the dude in the seat next to him. And
yeah,
which is almost harder because he's got no support. He's got nobody. Exactly. He's fighting Lando, Russell, and Piastri, and occasionally Charles Leclerc when Ferrari shows up.
Look, if he had a fast teammate, he arguably would have won the championship this year. I feel like somebody up there at least to help him out and take points off the McLarens.
By the way, the stooge that wrote this thing also he even brought up Rossi in that MotoGP. Like, so now we're going. I mean, how far out are we going to extrapolate this example? I mean, we're talking about MotoGP now. He's bringing that into somebody who may or not.
Michael Schumacher is not the best because he was not an IndyCar. You're like, that's an irrelevant statement.
What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, Rosso went over to MotoGP and he did all kinds of crazy stuff. I think now he's even LMP GT3 right now in an Evo. What does that have anything to do with what Max has done in however long back? I mean, and
Antonio
by the way,
Giovinazzi won Le Mans. He was nobody in F1.
Yeah.
I still maintain the reason that he didn't really end up making it was because of the last 4 letters of his name, the last 5 letters of his name. But that's just me. That's just my opinion.
Maybe the last 5. I think he's got 2 Z's in there.
I swear, there's somebody up in the FIA.
I'm sitting here trying to do them. I'm like, what's his name? Oh no!
I don't want to say it, but there's somebody at Formula One brass that was like, bro, we can't have that happen. Like, it can't happen. It's almost not his fault.
Hilarious. I always said he was the most forgettable man in Formula One, and I stand by that.
I
for
think the
Giovinazzi.
crazy narrative that Max Verstappen was coddled from the beginning and that car is wrapped around him, as this guy says, basically insinuating that car has always just been his. And there's this weird wafting in the whole Formula One sphere that Max Verstappen was having his Red Bull built the second he popped out of the womb, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Clearly, when he showed up, he had a really difficult time in his first couple of seasons. He was going up against formidable opponents in that second seat, and he wasn't just taking it. He was beat many times on track by the people next to him. He ended up fighting for it, and yes, anybody with eyeballs, aside from apparently people at Red Bull, can tell that entire team is modeled around Max Verstappen. But the what it took to get there wasn't like that from the beginning. So I
Right.
hate that narrative. It pisses me off so much that people continue to say that that's why he's successful.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget the struggles that he went through when he got there and how. I mean, granted, he did win his first.
Stappen
He won
was
his first
name.
race, but after that, things did get pretty rough for him over there.
Yeah, I mean,
And I think
that's
also-
what I. Go ahead, Kurt.
I was gonna say the fact that he compares it to Vettel and is how Vettel went to Ferrari, like that's a sign of how great he is. I mean, look what's going on at Ferrari. That's not a sign. And he's like, oh, he
Hamilton
almost
went to
won
Ferrari.
twice.
He
Hamilton-
almost won a GP. It's a sprint race, but it's
Yeah.
almost there.
A lot of people, Alonso went to Ferrari. A lot of people went to Ferrari and didn't do well. So I don't think just going there is a sign of your greatness by any stretch of the imagination.
No,
Yeah,
I definitely think
that
it's
that
a bit
narrative's going to be
irrelevant.
pushed for a long time. We're not going to get rid of that narrative for as long as Max is even remotely successful, which even when you win the Drivers' Championship without even actually winning the Drivers' Championship, which is what happened in 2025, they're still going to say that you only did it because the whole team is around you. But anyway, we'll move on. I don't want to harp on that stat.
I think I think we can draw a lot of conclusions between Max and Lewis. Right. Up until 2021, everyone was a Lewis hater. You're right. He's the best. It's the car. The W11 is the best thing ever. DOS system, blah, 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 blah. Right. And then you saw a resurgence in the amount of love Lewis got when he wasn't the best, but it took him like falling from grace. And I'll even follow my sword on that one. What was it? 2024 when he won Silverstone and Max was hunting him down in the past laps. Even I was like, no, Max, don't do it. Like, don't take this away. Let Lewis have this
Not
one.
here,
Man.
not
like,
here.
Don't do this one here. And I've come around to enjoy Lewis more, but it kind of took that fall from grace. And that's where we are in Max. He's just that good. Haters going to hate. And Abel, as you said, until he's not that successful, people are going to hate.
Yeah. I think everybody hates a domination like that. You want to go into a race weekend being like, oh, who's it going to be? Not like, okay, who's going to come second? Who's going to come third? Because you already know first place is a foregone conclusion. So I think that's why it's the same thing with Lewis. It's going to, we'll see. Maybe it'll be Lando next year. Everybody hates.
And as
he's
Zach
winning
Brown
everything.
said, we're now entering the Lando Norris era.
Oh, Zach Brown.
Yeah, baby.
Good
Zach-
Lord. I mean, and you have to, and arguably, people are really the people that do hate Max. I think that number has gone down significantly, probably like halfway through last season. It's gotten a lot less and less and less, including some of the papaya guys. I think even started wanting Max to not necessarily becoming Red Bull fans, but I think they kind of wanted to see Max poke his head through there a little bit more. And a lot of that has to do with the way that the championship really kind of started to shape out. An underdog story is an underdog story. And so I think the people that really dislike Max didn't like seeing that either. They didn't like seeing that not everyone hates him now. Only most people hate him, but there's a lot less, especially with the way that championship is going. So then when you start seeing all of that support for Max getting towards the end, getting towards Abu Dhabi, I think that his support was at an all-time high for something crazy to happen, not just for the sake of Max, but for the sake of almost like entertainment in Formula One. They just wanted to see it happen. And then when everybody saw that, I think it for the real Max detractors, I think that they really didn't like seeing that.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, let's go off of one champion. Let's go to another champion here.
Oh, God.
This one comes from the Formula One fans group on Facebook. And this is about Mr. Lando Norris, the current 2025 reigning champion, car number 1 for next year. This guy, Mark Leversedge, says, unless Lando has a big car advantage next year, he won't have a chance at winning the World Drivers' Championship.
1,000%. He almost lost it this year with the best car. I'm pretty sure they sabotaged his teammate. FIA was on his side, and he still almost lost it.
Oh, get at it. He almost lost it this year because his teammate and him were taking points off of each other. If Lando wasn't there, Oscar would have probably won it by a mile, and if Oscar wasn't there, Lando would have won it by a mile. It's just it's the way it is.
So back to
I
the
dis-
original guy's point, you're saying because he's got a good teammate, he's better because he's not able to beat him outright.
I'm saying they're both. I think Lando and Oscar are both not necessarily equally matched because I think they have different strengths and weaknesses, but it all kind of comes out in the wash. And I think they're both really good and really good drivers in their own right. And we all saw it. They're both taking points off of each other, which is kind of the issue of having two number one drivers at a team, but it's also what makes it exciting. And if Max had a strong number two that was equal to him and able to take points off of him, it'd be the same story at Red Bull.
Wait, what?
I said if Max had a strong teammate that was equal to Max's ability,
Yes.
he would also take points off of Max, so Max wouldn't win
Oh,
it
yeah,
by
yeah.
a mile.
Yeah, the problem
It's
is
the
though
same
that
thing.
nobody's equal to Max's ability. So there you go.
Well, on this question, unless Lando has a big car advantage next year, he won't have a chance. I think if all the cars came out even next year, he's still got a chance. I think that realistically Max would have more of a chance, but Lando's still got a chance.
How much have you
I
had to
disagree
drink?
with that.
I'm on my first beer here, buddy.
Won't lie, dude. It's like, what is it? Almost 9:00 over there. You've had at least like 7 of them. I disagree with that idea. I think Lando did. I think Lando's kind of grown a lot more as a driver. I think we've seen him like crumble down, come back up, crumble down, come back up, and I think we're seeing kind of the point of his driving where he's just putting it all together. Especially with the last couple of performances. Obviously, he got like strategy is a different story, but with his driving, I think he was really consistent, and he had to do some really consistent, very good, clean driving to get through Abu Dhabi to get to where he was towards the end of that. And I think it showed that he wasn't going to crumble under the pressure because I think if there was going to be a pressure cooker for him in any race, it was going to be that one. And he passed that test with flying colors, which I think he's doing a lot better. I think Piastri is still kind of in that growing phase, so he's not going to be as strong. I don't think he's going to be as consistent and as adaptable as Max is, which is, I think, what his actual superpower is. I mean, the idea is all these guys, they're at the top, the pinnacle of motorsport. They are driving the fastest cars that humans can produce. They're the fastest dudes, and they're fucking fast. It is what it is. I mean, I don't think that Max is necessarily faster than Lando in the way that he enters and leaves a corner. It's all pretty much equal depending on what they do, but I think it's the consistency, the adaptability that makes Max just a little bit better than them. And I think that Lando is kind of getting to that point where he's not going to falter as much. I can't say the same for Piastri. Piastri, I kind of showed he crumbled at the end of that season, so he might have a little more to learn, but I disagree with that. I think that even if Lando has, let's just say, equal machinery or maybe even a little bit less, I think he's going to be more consistent. I think he's got a really good shot for next year.
I totally agree with a lot of your points, Abel. Like, and I've talked about it a bunch on here. Like, it's not about necessarily the speed on the track and the entry and the exit of the corner at that level. It's putting in perfect laps, lap after lap after lap, and that's what separates them. And I think that's why, like that Ayrton Senna story, where he clipped the wall and he came back and was like, "Somebody moved the wall," and everyone was like, "Yeah, whatever, man." He's like, "No, somebody moved the wall," and they went and like checked, and sure enough, somebody had tapped the wall and they moved it
the wall.
1 centimeter. But I mean, it's like that level of perfection, lap after lap after lap, that sets you apart, and at this level, that's what you need. That in a car.
Yeah.
You put Max
Yeah.
in that Sauber, and he's probably going to score a few more points, but he's not going to be a constructor, driver's champion.
Signs in the Williams.
Signs in the Williams.
It was fun to watch. It was a lot of fun to watch. But man, that front
I'm sure
half
it was
of the
really
season,
fun for Alex Albon to watch. Alex was having a good time seeing that happen.
man,
It was
that
at
front
first
half
for
of
Alex.
that front half of the season was awful for Sainz.
Dude, I can honestly say that last year and the years before, I remember on the podcast talking about, I was like, I'm just not a Carlos Sainz fan. After this year, I think Carlos is probably my second favorite driver right now. He's just
After who?
I love
Stroll.
the GOAT, of course. Not number
Latifi.
4 anymore. I gotta get a new hat, number 1. But just the way, like, I feel like Carlos is one of those that has so much more in reserve. They talk about Max having more in reserve. Carlos is able to do strategy from the cockpit. He's able to just read the race, and I feel like few other people have that ability to do that like he does. And he's just got a great head of hair and an amazing accent. So he's up there for me.
All true statements.
There is
All
that.
true statements.
All right, what else you got,
Wait.
Kurt?
Well, I feel like did you agree or disagree? Did you disagree with my point, or do you feel like there's any curveball? I thought you were gonna finish a point, Dylan.
Me or Kurt?
No,
I think
you.
that I think Lando's going to need a car advantage. While I agree with you that he's become a hell of a lot better of a driver, um, I don't think his consistency is 24 races long. And I think that as much as I dislike the man, you have George Russell out there, you have Leclerc's out there that I think are incredibly good, consistent drivers that have machinery gaps. And I think if all things were equal, I think Lando would have a hell of a time. Max out of the equation. Um, if if this was F2 or stock car racing, the George Russells, the Leclercs, honestly, the Hamiltons in some way, I think would really give him a run, and I think that pressure would get to him.
It's a fair statement.
Yeah.
Fair
Oh,
statement.
yeah, I think that's fair. I as much as I want him to be up there, I think that he's just now starting to get to that level that other people have been at for a while. So there's still
And
that
he's not
gap.
mean.
So
And that's his point, and I think that was a big thing about him winning this year. He was happy to be the nice guy that wins. But when all things are equal, that's not gonna work.
yeah. Okay. So next one, you just spoke about him. On to Lewis Hamilton here. This person says it's I guess a message to Lewis. It says, "Don't forget who you are." Lewis Hamilton said it for a reason, not for the stats, not for the records, but for the pressure. Some fans think it's confidence, others call it arrogance. And then he goes on to say, "Is this a reminder that the paddock, or to the paddock, that greatness doesn't disappear, or a message to himself after a tough season?" So that was Lewis's message that he was saying. And then he says, "Should a 7-time champion stay humble and quiet, or remind the world exactly who changed the sport?" Basically, he goes on to say, "Is Lewis past his prime, or is he waiting for the right moment?" That's a big one. Is Lewis past his prime? I mean, he's what,
I
40,
I love
40
the
years
statement.
old?
Or is he waiting for the right moment? Yeah, I'm sure he's doing what he's doing right now.
He sat back, he was like, "Not
All
this
right,
season,
yeah.
not this
I'm building
year."
the drama.
Almavi
He's-
has to be in the perfect position before I start winning races. We're just waiting for that.
I do love his statement about, Lewis has never been arrogant. I don't think that is an adjective you can use to describe Lewis. He's never used the number one. He's been really adamant about he is number 44, and every year is a new race and a new season. I don't think I'd ever call Lewis arrogant. Um, is he past his prime? That's really hard to quantify. What I would say is he is past his willingness to take risks at a gambling level. He's a mature driver. Um, and I think that he would rather live to fight another day versus being willing to crash out and prove a point. And I love that the old Alonso versus Schumacher in Japan when he's like, "Oh, I knew Schumacher would back out of it. He's got a wife and 2 kids at home." And it's like that killer instinct of, "No, I'll put it into the wall. I don't care." And I think Max really has that. And I think he gets a lot of people's numbers because people get nervous around him. Lewis is a really good, but really mature driver that I don't see willing to throw his nose down the middle and crash out or win. And I think that's kind of becoming more of the deciding factor when other people are.
Yeah. I think that as far as past your prime, again, like you said, it's hard to quantify. Lewis was great in that one specific generation of car. And then once
Yeah.
we got to the last generation where it was all about the floor and it was all about, the downforce that the floor was creating, he just he couldn't get behind it. I think also a lot of that going into it was the fact that his spirit and his will was crushed after 2021. I think mentally that took a big toll on him. So maybe that kind of, made it his I guess him coming into terms with the new generation of car might have made it a little bit tougher for him. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to tell. We're about to go into a generation of car that's more closely matched to what he's good with. And so we'll see. But I think to your point, he might be to that point now where he's more or less willing to take that risk that I think you really need. And what's strange about that is I feel like Alonso is not that way.
No,
I
he's
feel like
never
Alonso
lost
has a lot
that.
to fight for. Yeah, he's not getting rid of that. Alonso's the oldest one there, and he hasn't lost it. But also with Lewis, and I've said this all year, I think Lewis has so much else going on in the world. He's not 100%. Like, man, when I say that, I don't think that he's not like all in on Formula One. But you look at Max, and all Max does is race. If he's not racing F1, he's racing something else, or he's sim racing. I don't think that Lewis has that same
Yeah,
drive
he
because
owns
he's
the Denver
also
Broncos, and he does
right.
fashion, and he
He's got the
does
fashion, he's
music,
got all that.
and
Yeah, he's got all these extra things where all that Max and all these young kids coming up, they're all about racing. So I feel like Lewis is kind of aging out in that respect.
Listen,
oh, this ought to be good. Do it. Do it.
uh, I don't. Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton. Look, you're right, and you're very right, Dylan, in the fact that you talk about how he's risks, okay? Because he at one point in time he did take a risk though, a very disastrous one by moving from Mercedes to Ferrari, and even before that, look. I don't know how much he pays his manager or if he even likes his manager at this point or whoever it is that helps him make decisions. But whoever sat down, pulled out a whiteboard and started mathing, okay, was clearly doing it at a third grade level. Because if you're going to tell me
Roscoe.
that Toto wasn't
Rest in
going to
peace.
give him at some point a car that he could drive after what he'd already been through with that team, and somehow Ferrari was like, so what number, what were you putting, like an orange and then like a plus symbol and then like you drew a building and a little car with the wheel? Like, how are you figuring that whole thing out? And the thing that really pisses me off is that now he's going on these interviews after he's not doing so well in these races, and he's talking like he's depressed and all these things are going on. And it's like, well, listen, rich dude, I'm so sorry that you are getting to drive the fastest cars humans have ever produced, making more money, like pretty much almost more money than anybody doing it on planet Earth. Right? I'm pretty sure you have access to the most beautiful humans on planet Earth. And yet, for some reason, you're really upset about this. It's like, why don't you just draw some perspective and realize that you fucked up really bad? Like, you like
Right.
probably the biggest mistake in F1 history, rivaling, like, probably, I mean, your move caused this entire thing, not only doing that, but demoting somebody who was very deserving of that seat all the way to the back of the grid in Williams, who, by the way, fucked you up this last season. And so
Dude,
this
that's
was
great
all
time doing it.
this was all you, Lewis Hamilton. So when you sit there on the mic and say, I'm useless, I don't feel bad for you. I don't feel, go wipe your tears with $100 bills. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. You had 7 championships. How much is enough? Like, I get you, they stole the last one. But I mean, if you had the 8th one, they just would have stole the 9th one and you would have been just as pissed. So who cares? Clearly, it's not enough for you. So how am I supposed to even sympathize or care about your situation at this point? Why not just ride off into the sunset? Well, you could have, but you kind of messed that up. Now you're going to ride off into like a really dingy, foggy, like nasty sunset, right? Because this is what you're doing. But he's actively rewriting his own legacy right now. He had a brilliant legacy that he could have walked away from and been in the lore, in the conversation for the all-time greats forever. And he's actively riding that back into a downslope where everyone
I'm going
at
to
the
play
end of
devil's advocate on that.
Okay.
Schumacher came back and went to Mercedes and did a whole lot of nothing. And none of us care or remember his Mercedes years. But we do remember that he's a 7-time world champion, 5-time consecutive Ferrari world champion. And so, yes, in the very short term, I will agree with you. But in 10 years, the only thing everybody's going to remember is that Lewis Hamilton was a 7-time world champion during the V6
I'm going to
hybrid era
respond with an
Mercedes.
equally controversial statement and say that F1 has transcended pop culture more now than it ever has before. And Lewis Hamilton arguably is more famous in a household than Schumacher was at the time. Now, granted,
Okay, I'll
race
agree
fans
there.
hate me for that because race fans kind of want to like feel like their hero, everybody knew their hero, but the reality of it is not, they didn't. At this stage, so many people know who he is. He's in fashion. He's in all like facets of business. He's making movies with Brad Pitt, for crying out loud. So I think more people see him now than people saw Schumacher at that time. And so for him to now continue doing what he's doing, I think it has more eyeballs on it. And so you're taking something of value and you're now actively devaluing it by continuing to drive, knowing what you know as a driver. There's nothing wrong with saying that you are the best ever and you're just on the downslope of your career, you're older, maybe you're not as hungry. There's nothing wrong with that. But he's taking the value of his career and his legacy, and he's just actively just sucking the value out of it. And I don't know why he's doing it while crying on camera. That's all I'm saying.
So I honestly think that he's chasing. He felt like that 8th one was taken from him. And I feel like if he would have won that 8th championship, he probably would have retired by now, but it was taken. So then he was like, I'll do one more to get it back. And then that didn't work. And one more to get it back. And that didn't work. So he's like, well, maybe if I switch teams, then I'll get it back. That hasn't worked. So at some point, I feel you, he's going to have to eventually cut his losses, or maybe he wins it by some miracle and is able to ride off into the sunset. But I don't know if he keeps chasing it like this. I think that he probably will devalue it, because this is what's going to be remembered. All these sound clips and everything, these are what's going to float around in for perpetuity, and that's what people are going to know.
All right, let me take this into left field a little bit. Another conspiracy theory, but it segues really well with this. So Felipe Massa has been granted the rights to sue the FIA for the 2008 World Championship, that it was stolen illegally from him and that he should have it. I don't think he has a leg to stand on. It's very mid-season, too much going on, too many variables. I don't think he's going to win it. But if there is ever a right to sue and say that what was done illegally, I can see Lewis Hamilton having the right on 2021 with Michael Massey in the last race of the season, unlapping a few cars so that they can race and Max Verstappen wins. Do you think he will go there?
Oh, I would hope not. That's ugly. Because because Massa's doing it to him. Massa's doing it to him. So then for him to turn around, so maybe if Massa does it and takes one of his from him, and now he's a 6-time champion, then maybe he'll do it. But I feel like that one is a tough one, and it might work with Lewis, hypothetically, right?
I think he has more right to it than Massa does.
True, and also you could say with Felipe Massa, there was so much of the race left, nobody knows what would have happened. But with Max and Lewis, if they would have unlapped all the cars, it would have finished under a safety car. You know what would happen at that point.
Exactly.
That being said, it's all ugly, it's dirty, it's nasty, and I would hate for it to get to that. But man, could you imagine Drive to Survive? That would be its entire series alone, just on that.
It'd just be like a court proceeding is all it would be on Drive to Survive.
Judge Judy, Judge Joe Brown. I don't know, one of them would be there.
No, I agree with that. That would be ugly. I feel like that would be not petty, but just cringy at that point. I feel like that's even further devaluing who you are as a champion. Part of his brand, by the way, is that he's a very clean, humble, everybody love me, I'm the good guy. So I don't think that he's going to want to do that, because it would really paint him in a negative light. But let's be honest, Massa's he's not going to, I don't think that's going to happen.
It's not going to go anywhere.
Even if it did, I don't see Hamilton. Unless Hamilton leaves before it happens, I guess, and then he's got nothing better to do but to start firing off some lawsuits. But if he's not on the grid,
he's got the cash.
I guess so, but no, I think that would be too petty for even him. I don't think he's going to look at that and be like, "That's a good thing for my brand." He's gonna realize he's got a lot of other stuff he's trying to sell, so he can't sell that stuff if everybody hates you. So I don't think he would do that.
Yeah, he's trying to peddle his non-alcoholic tequila.
Yeah, hard pass.
All right. Well, from one Ferrari driver, let's move on to the second Ferrari driver, or the other Ferrari driver. I can't say the second. This one's a short and simple one. Leclerc is the second best driver on the grid.
Oh, God. With this stuff, with this shit about Charles Leclerc.
He might be the second most therapized driver on the grid.
Yeah,
no, he's number one right there.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I think F1 itself sits down and has a meeting about his bills and the billing coming from the psychiatry department for that guy. He obviously needs it. I don't agree with that. I'm going to go first on this one. I don't believe that he's the second best driver on the grid. I think that he's a great driver. I think that there's a lot of things that he lacks, and I think that his mental state is easily broken. I don't necessarily believe. I mean, tell me why it is that somehow when he gets to Monaco, they all fucking live in Monaco, by the way. I don't see. I get that he was born there or lived there or whatever, but I don't see why you get to turn on this magical thing you turn on whenever you get there, and you can't do that at any other track except for Monaco. Why? Why do you do better?
Well, he did it at Monza too.
He did. It counted there.
He did it at Monza.
Right, but supposedly every year that he shows up to Monaco it's time. right? And I'm like, was it not time before? And when you're done with this, is it no longer time? Is this
Yeah.
is the race that everybody else hates the most the one that you're constantly going to look at as the one that you are going to do the best
The
at
Monaco
forever?
specialist. I'm gonna blow
Yeah.
my load on this one track.
I hate the woulda, coulda, shoulda because, Max doesn't really live under those guidelines and he doesn't perform under those guidelines. He can either do bad or good, but he's going to try to do his best every single time. And you can tell that he's a killer no matter what he does when he gets out there, for better or for worse. I feel like Charles Leclerc goes out there and we have all these stats about how amazing he is and how he's the best driver in the worst car and how he would do so much better. It's like, how about he just fucking does it every once in a while? I mean, how is it that Carlos Sainz took off from that team in that car, went to a Williams, and he still shined? So what's Leclerc doing that's keeping him from being the driver that he really is? I don't believe that exists in Formula One. I don't know that there's a place for it. You're either doing good or you're not. So
I
no, I
I
don't
would
believe
say I don't know if it's something that Leclerc's doing. I think that Charles Leclerc is up there with amongst the top drivers currently. I wouldn't say he's the second best, but I do think Charles Leclerc on a Saturday, he's amazing. And even during the races, like he's had some really good races. And I think he's a great driver. I think that he has so much to work against with that Ferrari that it doesn't matter. Like even I feel like if you put Max in that Ferrari, he'll probably do better than Charles Leclerc, but he's going to be fighting against that car every weekend that he sits down in there.
That's my point, though. He's already fighting a car.
He already is. It's clear
how do
by
you know
his
that
number
it's not?
twos.
How do you know that it's not worse than a Ferrari? Because the guy in the second seat drives other cars isn't typically stats wise. Whoever happens to be in that seat did okay at Racing Bulls. I don't know. That seems to be like the thing now. But when you go there, it's like you can't drive it. So how do you know that he's not driving a car that is as bad, if not worse, than a Ferrari? He's just doing what he has to do in that car. It's all front end and aero. It's not like they put like gold bars in it for him to do something special. It's just a damn car. So he would have done it. If you're going to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, then you can't do it. I mean, that's just kind of how that goes. I hate to say it that way, but he's a great driver. He's an amazing driver. Top 5 easily. But second, fuck out of here. No.
I think I agree on exactly what you're saying, but I'm going to put a different spin on it. I think that he has been mentally beat to a pulp, and it shows. And because of that, he's not the number 2 driver right now. Maybe in his prime when he was at when he had a good brain. But that dude has been beat so far down that it would take a couple of years in the perfect car before he starts like trusting himself.
Yeah, I feel like every race he's not only going against the other drivers and the other teams, but he's going against his own team. He's going against his own car. So he does have a lot that he's fighting against. I would love to see what actually Charles Leclerc could really do, but we just haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, I think he's got the potential. I think he's got a lot of potential, but it ain't.
What are we waiting for then? We haven't seen
he's been
Charles
beat
Leclerc's
down.
potential Formula One. So tell us, what car does he need to get put in order for us to see his potential? Because if you're basically telling me that once we get him into a McLaren, which is the fastest car on the grid, at least this past season, and then the second half of last season, the season before that, then okay, is that what it takes? He needs the fastest car to be fast. Isn't that literally the fucking opposite of what a good driver is?
That's what Lando needed.
Hey, we've already moved past that.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Isn't that the opposite of what the best driver needs? If the best driver needs the best car or he can't do it, like Zach Brown so poetically said about Max, which I'm so glad to watch him shove that down like a hot dog at the end of that season.
Yeah.
What is it? What are we waiting for then? What are we waiting for then? He gets to go. He just walks down the street, crawls up in his apartment with his supermodel girlfriend and that weird little dog they have, and then he just cries at night. Like, what are we waiting for in order for him to perform on track? I'm sorry that Ferrari hasn't been good enough since the day you got in it.
All right. Well, here's my take. I think that Charles Leclerc is going to wind up. I think he's going to wind up at Aston Martin soon. If Ferrari doesn't perform this year, I could see him there.
I saw a foreign thing today on Instagram that said he had signed for 2027. So it was on the internet. It's happening.
I saw that. I saw one of those things. Yeah. Have you guys the stuff that's on the internet once you get F1 in your algorithm is pretty obscure. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. It'll be like sign. The one last week was Max Verstappen signs with Mercedes, and you're like, that's fake. And then you're like, oh, it's for the GT3 or whatever.
Yeah.
We also said that for when Lewis signed with Ferrari. We're like, ain't no way that's happening.
That's not happening. and
That would
look
be
where
the
we're at.
dumbest decision anybody could ever make. Oh, look at that!
Look at that.
Oh, it happened.
Fast forward to now. It's like, look at that. It indeed was the dumbest fucking decision any driver's ever made.
I guarantee you, as soon as that happened, Charles, his therapist, was like, "Hey, give this to Lewis. He's gonna need it."
Yeah, he's gonna need it.
He's just like, cha-ching. He's like, I can't wait.
So
All right,
out of just pure curiosity, if they were actually going to move Charles Leclerc over to Aston Martin, and it's undeniable that I can talk a lot of shit, but Charles Leclerc is obviously a valuable driver in the market because of the mystique that somehow surrounds him that he's still good. So once he gets there, what happens to? I mean, is this obviously it's very plausible that Alonso would retire. It's less plausible that they would remove Stroll anywhere. But what's the most likely driver lineup if they were going to move somebody as valuable as Charles Leclerc over to Aston Martin? Because I don't see Alonso wanting to leave anytime soon. And this was a point that I was actually going to bring up before, not to backtrack. But when you have the drivers like Lewis Hamilton that have been out there for a long time, have championships, that are still like kind of dealing with their legacy, it's all his interview stuff that kind of brings that stuff down. Because Alonso's still there having a fucking great time.
Yeah.
And everybody loves Fernando Alonso. They don't care that he won a championship and now he's just kind of doing what he does at Aston Martin. No one cares. That flowing hair gets out of that helmet and he walks down there just batting it around and just hanging out with supermodels doing his thing, and people fucking love him.
5'6" of him.
He's all up on TikTok. He's all on the socials and everything. Alonso's having a great time right now. So yes,
but I don't think he's got more than 2 years left in him.
Right. I don't think he's got that many more. But if this car comes out this year, it's Adrian Newey designed car. I think he's going to want to give it at least 2 years. I think after that 2 years, if that car is doing great and Fernando is able to still perform, I think he's staying. I think if he starts to trickle off or that car is not doing good, then he might dip out after 2 years, which is right when Charles Leclerc's contract is up anyways. So, I mean, I guess that could be him leaving there. But if that car is good, you're going to have to pry Alonso out of that car, I feel like.
But I think that's half the point, and a lot of them concede. If that car is good, that car was pretty good in, was it 22? Was it 22? Yeah, it was the first year of the new generation when Fernando was on the podium multiple times. Mm-hmm. Stroll was way back, and there was a ton of heat. The past 2 years, that car has really dropped back, and the heat's fallen off of Stroll because the car just didn't perform all that well. It wasn't nearly as noticeable. If Fernando is winning races and is consistently podiuming, yeah,
that works.
It's fine.
And Stroll is barely scoring points, he's going to go. And I know his daddy wants him to do well, and I appreciate that for him, but they're shareholders, and this is a business, and I think that will solve the problem for it.
Yeah. I can't believe that Stroll still wants to be in the sport. How long could you want to do something that, for one, you don't seem very interested in to begin with, and for two, you just get shit on every weekend. You're nobody likes you. Like his only friend is Esteban Ocon, from what I can tell, and other than that, nobody likes him. So why would you want to stick around something like that?
He would have been fine if he didn't have that one hiccup in Brazil, honestly. I mean, for the season prior, because he was actually going pretty quiet. Everybody was just looking at. I forgot that he even fucking drove Formula One for a while. Like, he's just there, but then he always does like one thing that is so like memeable and just it goes so viral in a 10-second clip,
so on brand,
or in a 30-second clip, that it completely overshadows the fact that he was like not even really there most of the time, right? Which is a good thing for Stroll if he's just kind of flying on through, right? Picking up, whatever place he does and not crashing the car, which is a terrible stat to have, right? But as long as you don't crash it, you're pretty much good. He always does something that just spikes the needle somewhere throughout a season, and that overshadows the whole rest of the season for that guy.
So you're talking about Brazil when he completely ignored the escape road and drove right through the gravel and beached his car in front of everybody.
Well, it's that, and from a driver perspective, like looking at the rest of the field, nobody was going to just spin out, locking up the rears, doing like 30 miles an hour down a straight, right? There's a lot of water, and I get that, but there's driver reactions, and they kind of have that in place there. These are the best drivers in the world. We expect them to get through a puddle, and
most of them,
right? But he locked up the rears and then slammed into the side, and it was just like, Anybody looked at that like, wow, like you were just driving straight. Like you didn't have any pressure. You didn't have nobody was telling you to go. This is called a formation lap, bud. Like, I don't know if you know how that works, but you don't have to go that way. You could have just gone around it, but he just went. And then of course, obviously the very memeable moment where he just drives it directly into the sand instead of just staying en route where there's concrete for him to just drive around. But he always does something like that at some point to just completely fuck off the rest of his career where he was just driving like a normal driver, wasn't doing anything bad, wasn't really calling attention to himself, and that ruins it. And I think he's going to continue to do that. It's just, it's too easy.
Hey, the second best driver on the track, Leclerc, has issues with formation laps as well.
he oh my God, yes. Actually, he had in that same race, I think he had an issue with the formation lap. Why am I so unlucky?
Now, I'm going to throw
water. Full of water.
That might be the water. I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in that.
Okay.
Because I talked to a buddy of mine that hung out with Lance Stroll for a couple of hours. And he said he was the nicest human being he has hung out with. And I was like, no, I don't want to hear that. I enjoy disliking him too much. And he was like, he was so cool, so down to earth, not douchey whatsoever. And I was like, I don't want to hear that though. I like what I like my image.
But I mean, did your friend like hang out with him in like private in a room with nobody else around?
It was pretty low key, apparently.
Like, did they go to like McDonald's and get some nuggets or something? Like, what was the?
No,
what was
they
the
didn't go to Mickey D's. I believe they were at like a race event in like the upper suite, hanging out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look.
Like, he can be as nice as he wants to. He's
Lance
a terrible
Stroll has
driver.
done himself the least amount of favors in the history of Formula
for sure.
1, I think, when it comes to talking. Like, if people hated you before, you hating them back does not help. I hate to tell you, but you just being like kind of snide and mean to like the proverbial like mean kid in the corner is not helping you win any points. He's really defensive and just mean to all of the interviewers when they ask him questions. He's very short.
Yep.
He just runs off. He clearly doesn't want to be there. And then we have that weird clip of him. I don't know if Kirk put it up or just if anybody knows when he's making that face when he's on the driver parade, when he's just disgusted with like the fact that
hates
like
to be there.
He just can't believe that humans exist and they made cars and now he is where he is. He's just like, what it is like. He's
nothing tarnished his image like when he crashed into the back of Danny Ricciardo and then called Danny an idiot.
Yeah.
Nothing.
When Danny's fighting for his career, everybody's rooting for him, and then you go and do something like that.
Which, by the way, is the Constantina effect. If you didn't know that, it's the Constantina effect. It's not the Concertina effect. It's the Constantina effect. Whatever the fuck that means. That's why he crashed. It was the Constantina effect.
Yep.
It's not because he was looking
the fact
to the
that there was a turn there and you have to slow down for those.
It wasn't because he was pulling up an Instagram to see if he had more than 30 followers now. It's because of the Constantina effect that he crashed into the back of him and then refused to take any accountability for what happened.
I think that's the problem. He's just very unlikable because of that.
One of the most liked drivers universally in F1 history, I think.
Yeah,
I think win or lose, he just goes on as just this dude that people just love, no matter what. If he's there,
nobody hated Danny.
People like Danny Ricciardo. It is what it is. And you crashed into the back of that guy, right? Like you could have at least lunged into Max.
An idiot.
People like Max. People hate Max. I mean, same thing goes for most drivers. But Danny's like he's just kind of being Danny Ricciardo, and he's like, "Oh, bro, I'm gonna make a 10, mate," and then boom, and he just gets smashed in the back, and it's just like
some idiot slammed on brakes in front of me.
His teeth are all hanging out. Oh, I'm gonna do it, and then just crash right into the back of him. Way to go, Stroll. Way to go.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Oh, boys. All right. Well, let's see. We got time for one more. What else do we got here? Oh, here's one Abel sent me. This one comes from talking about Lando Norris's dad here.
Oh, I'm going to get hot about this one.
So for those that haven't seen, after the race in Abu Dhabi, Lando Norris's dad is seen in the paddock, and he walks up and does an interview during the post-race interviews. And
I have
Lando
not
Norris
seen this. How did I miss this?
I'm not sure, but he comes up. He probably had a few drinks at the time. He seemed extra loose at the moment. And he says, I forget the whole context of it, but he basically goes on to say that nobody remembers who came second place. And basically saying that, his son came in first, and that's all that matters because nobody remembers second place.
I mean, nobody does remember second place. But,
ooh. Abel, how do you... Oh, Abel's turning red. What do you have on this one, Abel?
Wait, what did you just say? You cut out.
I said nobody does remember second place most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Um, like, wow. I mean, fucking wow. Like, what? How can you be any worse at reading a room when the
Yeah.
entire globe is the room and you were there probably in the paddock for the entire season? The idea that nobody remembers who got second place and arguably the craziest comeback just in points in an F1 season. And I'm not going to quote history or quote whatever because there's been a lot of things that kind of rival this. But again, there's more eyeballs on Formula One now than there probably has ever been. And for Max Verstappen to be coming back from 104 points or whatever it was to where he 2 points off of him, and then for him to not just let his son enjoy his fucking win. It's like, dude, you could have just shut your mouth or just would have said, you know what, my son won. I'm going to go hang out with him. You guys have a good day. You could have said anything. And instead you say, no one remembers who came second. It's just like, I don't know why you think that helps Lando at all. If Lando has got any detractors, he's got like 100,000 more because of what you just said. Everybody, literally everybody remembers who came second this season. Everyone.
Look, I think there needs to be some context. Look who this is. This is Adam Norris, Lando Norris's dad. Lando has said some stupid things in post-race interviews and interviews before. The apple does not fall far from the tree. Everybody is going to remember who won this one because Max came back from a 104-point deficit. Almost, he got within 2 points. If Max was still 104 points back in second place, yeah, people would have forgot about it. I think for Adam Norris to say this, it was just one of those like caught in the moment, kind of just bonehead comments. I'm sure he would change it if he could, but also Lando's done the same damn thing. You get a microphone shoved in your face. You've had a few drinks at this point. I'm sure all of us would stick our foot in our mouths. I know I
I
would.
agree. I
don't care, but I didn't. You did. All right, so I'm going to fucking talk
fair.
about it.
I think that 90% of second place people are never remembered. But there are the seasons, right? 2021, Max and Lewis. 2000 was it 16, Nico and Lewis. I mean, we could go back further, right? There's always like those seasons where like that title battle was there, and this is definitely one of those seasons. And so I think Abel, to your point, read the room. This is one of those seasons, and everybody knows it, and you still almost lost it by. We were talking about earlier how Lando commanded his last race. Great. He didn't crumble under pressure. And I want to counteract that with, because it was 12-point deficit, not 10.
Mhm.
If it was a 10-point deficit and Lando had to make a place up because third place wouldn't have been good enough.
Right.
Oof, I don't know that he would have been able to overcome that. Maybe he would have. Maybe I'd be wrong. But like the fact that the cards fell where they did and he ended up in third place and that was good enough. It was like, well, you did good enough. All right, good job. There you go.
But it happened, right? It happened either way. It's how it shook out. He won the damn championship, so whatever place he had to go to. But that's what I mean. Literally with stuff being the way that it actually is, with the eventuality being what it was, your son won the damn championship. But I don't think anybody's ever said, nobody remembers who came in second, they remember first. So the first time anybody says this live on TV in Formula One is the one fucking season more than any other, most likely, in the past 10 years, people are 100% going to remember who came in second. So
other than 2021, maybe.
It's like,
you're in contention.
Yeah. I'm talking to you, Adam. Timing, bro. Timing would have been a huge thing here. Timing. Okay.
It's the Lando Norris era. Zach Brown said it.
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. One more thing. I know we're getting close, but one more thing I want to talk about. I want to talk about one more thing. Zach Brown. I want to talk about Zach Brown really quick because nobody helped McLaren and did more for McLaren this season, or let's say in the last 3 seasons, than Zach Brown's mouth. Okay, I don't know. You know how like a team principal, which he has, by the way, which is not really a team principal. I think that guy just gets them like bagels and coffee and hot pockets whenever he needs them, and then he just cosplays as the team principal.
Talk about that.
I don't know what Andrea Stella does, but they have a team principal. The team principal has to be there, right? He has to do his job. The pit crew has to be there to do their job. The strategist has to be there to do their job. The driver obviously has to be there. The only person who doesn't have to be in that paddock and in that garage is Zach Brown. Yet, for some reason, he's the one that's there doing the most damage to McLaren, where he would be so much better off eating like a pile of Hot Pockets and doing whatever it is that he does back in England at that McLaren factory, sitting down watching from afar. They literally have buildings in different countries running these fucking cars. Okay, and for some reason, Zach Brown has to be there just so that right afterwards he can either do something or say something that sets back McLaren 10 fucking years. And
is this the World Driver Champion hotline? Hello there.
I don't know why. Like, why has no one at McLaren? Because I think there's one person above Zach Brown who could probably call him and say, "Yo, man, look, I know you like the races and stuff, but why not either go in the stands or just stay home and watch it? Because you're not doing us any favors." They're celebrating the drivers' championship, and he leaves Piastri on the fucking on like the podium, right? Doesn't even wait for him to come back. Whose call was that? And then saying
actually,
all these
there is some behind the scenes on that. Apparently, they did a big photograph, and the drivers left, but Lando was still hanging out, and they're like, "Hey, let's do a team picture of like everybody else," and Lando happened to still be there. I will say that's Zach's job to pick up on the messaging and say, "Hey, if Lando's here, we should probably have the other guy here." But apparently, it wasn't designed to be that way. He just missed.
It's his job to not be there at all. His job is to not be there. If you look at his title and what he is for McLaren, he's the CEO. Now, Toto Wolff is the CEO and team principal
president
of Mercedes-AMG F1 team, right? So he's supposed to be there. Zach Brown doesn't have to be there. He's just there causing damage every single time he flaps that mouth of his. I mean, every time he says so, name one time Zach Brown has done something good for McLaren in the media. One time. Give me one. I'll ask for one. Nothing. I'm not going to say he didn't take that team and build it to where it is and get it to where it is, doing his good job, which he could do from home or from the office, by the way. But what has he done in the media that we can look at, that we have seen, action or words that he has done for McLaren fucking ever?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's fair.
All I think of is, just negative things. He did that one interview where he's like, "Oh, if this is, just like, what was it, 07 or whatever." And then the same thing almost happened. He was like, "I'd rather him beat us than us beat ourselves," or something like that. And
he's never said anything that, number one, made actual sense, and number two, ever actually helped the team. I mean, look at media as a whole. None of it would ever actually help you anyway. So the whole goal is just not say, don't go backwards. Don't say anything bad. He only knows how to do that. He only knows how to mess everything up. Somebody get that man out of the path.
Because of this whole conversation about Zach Brown, and a thought popped in my head, and it's something we have not discussed all season at all. I'm going to throw it at you guys cold. Who is the most irrelevant driver of the season?
Of this year.
The most irrelevant.
The most irrelevant driver of 2025.
Esteban Ocon. Ooh. I honestly can't think of anything that he's done.
I would say Colapinto.
Oh,
I wouldn't say. I mean,
actually, I don't know.
Colapinto's been notable.
He was notable. You're right. That's okay. That's fair.
I'm sticking with Ocon. I can't think of anything that Ocon did this season.
I mean, Ocon. I was going to say, I mean, even Doohan is a little more notable than Ocon right now. Not for the right reasons, but I mean,
I remember Doohan's
being
crash
notable for anything. Yeah, I would say Ocon. Ocon? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's 20 of them. I'd have to really think about each and
Sauber,
every one of them.
Bortoleto though, but he's a rookie.
Bortoleto's been great. I feel like he's done good things. He
was fine. He was a rookie. I don't think he did much, but for his rookie season, he was fine.
No, I think look at it this way. At least you have him like flying off of the main street in Brazil in very spectacular fashion. So when you talk about irrelevancy, you talk about nobody even knows you're there, right? So even he has more skin in the game in terms of media than Ocon. Ocon is just there.
I think you're right. I think it's Ocon.
I would agree with that. My mind is pretty shot, but
the new Giovinazzi.
Yeah,
he's the new Giovinazzi.
The most forgettable driver in Formula One.
There you go.
Here we are.
Congratulations.
And of course, Lando Norris, because even after the championship, nobody can stop talking about what Max did and not what Lando did.
I'm going to turn your microphone off here.
I mean, come on. Let's be honest really quick. Who's really even talking about what Lando did, aside from the fact that how hard he dropped it before he won it?
Like he dropped it,
I
but he
mean,
picked it back up.
I'm trying. I'm trying
he
to put
did it.
respect on his
He
name.
did it.
I'm giving it my best shot.
who wins
Look.
next year, Lando or Piastri?
Who knows?
I think Lando does. I honestly do. I think Lando has
Give
come
me a
into his
why.
prime
Give
at
me
this
the
point.
why.
So I think Lando's come into his prime. What Abel mentioned earlier, Lando has shown this year that, like when we came into the year, we always knew that Lando, he was very emotional and his emotions would run away with him and it would always affect his performance. And we saw that throughout the year. But then I feel like we saw like a phoenix. He rose from the ashes. He came out galvanized.
I don't
He's got
know about
a
like
suit of
phoenix.
armor on now. You see, exactly. That's Lando coming
Rising.
out from the ashes wearing a suit of armor, and he's going to the next season and he's going to kick Oscar Piastri's ass. I don't know what happened to Oscar, too. I don't know if Oscar's back being normal. Oscar started off so strong, and we talked about how he's like the young Max. He's like unflappable. Oscar never misses. And then all of a sudden, he
We
started
never said the
missing
young
big
Max. We
time.
said young Kimmy.
Young Kimmy, yeah, but as far as like his performances, at least I was like, this guy is going to eventually rise up and give Max a run. And then we just saw it was like the rug got pulled out from under him. So I don't know now if
Zach
he's
Brown
back.
sabotaged his car.
All right, so here's the other part that's getting to me on this. Lando Norris is a McLaren driver through and through. He came up through the ranks with McLaren. He's been there since they were terrible. 2019 he got there? It's been absolutely terrible. If you're a team principal, you have this person, you put all your eggs in their basket, and you have somebody new that comes in. Clearly, your allegiance is going to, either on the surface or not, slightly going to be towards this person that you
I
brought up
disagree.
through the ranks.
Oh,
And
so we're talking
until proven otherwise consistently. Just because you are good for half a season, I'm not going to change that allegiance. So if he continues to do well, speaking about Oscar, maybe I could see that in the future. But right now, Oscar, I feel like is kind of an unknown quantity at this point. I don't think he's shown enough at the end of the season to say that he's fully back yet.
All right. I've got a couple of things on this then. I think it depends very heavily on your leadership, your management, your ownership style. I'm a very numbers oriented person. I'm pretty unemotional on a lot of that stuff. To me, this is a business, and I would have sided with Oscar because I think Oscar's peak potential is a lot higher than Lando's for a plethora of reasons. And I would have probably maybe not sided with Oscar, but I definitely would have given him every chip available to him. And I think that Lando's emotional ups and downs are hard. But I'm a very logical individual in that, right? I can see how most likely a Zach Brown would have an emotional allegiance to someone, and I completely and utterly disagree with having that as a style for a business, but I can see how it's there. I just don't think it's the right move.
First of all, Curtis, Lando would not be rising out of the ashes like a phoenix. He would be at a daycare somewhere, rising out of a ball pit, a very colorful ball pit with gummy bears coming out of his fucking nose. He'd be going like this, and he'd be going
Best
like,
analogy ever.
He'd go, did I win? Did I win? Did I won it? Or I didn't win it? Did I win
Guys,
it? What?
Guys,
That was what it looked like when he was actually doing better. And to your point, by the way, which you prove my point, because with all the time that Lando has spent at McLaren, all the things he's done there, all the things with his father, Zach Brown, going through all that stuff, right? He still has absolutely zero pull at McLaren to get things done. He is still at the mercy of whatever they give him when he's out on track after all this time. And so when you talk about how them having allegiances to him, and I'm like, when and where? Because all he goes out there on track, and just like Oscar, they get on the radio and they don't sound very confident. They're asking questions on the radio. They're asking for direction. Their hands are being held through that paddock with Zach as they show up with their little backpacks on, and they're being told what to do. So after all that time as a lead driver or as the one who has the preference, I get that, yeah, obviously the new driver would have to come in and shift that narrative on his own. He would have to perform. I think Oscar did perform. I think he definitely didn't not perform. He did very, very well. But even then, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Oscar took the lead and then did it for, let's say 2 seasons long. He still isn't going to have any pull whatsoever because of the way McLaren's running that team. I mean, look at the way they handle interviews. If you actually want to find out what's going on at Red Bull, you ask Max, who's the driver, right? If you want to find out what's going on at McLaren, you don't ask either one of those two drivers, because all they do is get up on the mic and go like, yeah, well, we'll look at it, and I guess we'll have to talk about it afterward and see what happened, right? And then they move on. You ask Zach Brown if you want to find out what they're going to do and have any type of a inkling of what their mindsets are. You don't ask the drivers. So I don't think it matters either way. But like in terms of like who the lead driver is and allegiances and all that fun stuff, I don't think they know what they're doing no matter what. But yeah, he's coming out of a colorful ball pit. He's not coming. He's not rising from the ashes.
I will say I do agree on that with the team, and I think that the team over the off season needs to look at the way they go racing and make some adjustments, because that whole
I don't think it's a team thing. That's a leadership thing.
Dude, yes, exactly. It's the way that it's being led, and we just see that it's not working right. I think there might be a way, maybe, that they could do the 2 lead drivers thing, but I don't see one. I think you have to eventually put all your eggs in somebody's basket in order to guarantee that you're not going to have an issue like we almost had this year, where
either that or you get rid of the stupid papaya rules. You get rid of this stupid.
They cannot do that anymore
because Oscar did this. He gets first pick out of the garage for timing during qualifying.
Or you remove Zach Brown.
Are we?
Get rid of Zach Brown.
They got to stop that shit.
You get rid of Zach Brown. I mean, look at what's going on with McLaren at IndyCar with Alex Palou. Zach Brown is not somebody, I don't care how he tries to paint himself in the media as this business guy with his little briefcase and his little pot belly walking down like he's a nice little businessman guy.
A little pot belly.
He's not. He's making decisions. He's as cutthroat as the rest of them back there. He's as cutthroat as any other team principal making decisions back there. He's the only one hiding in plain sight, trying to pretend that he's a sheep and wolf, like a wolf in sheep's clothing. He's clearly doing what he has to do, and if he has preferences, he's going to execute those. But unless you move him out of that damn paddock, so I think it's a him issue.
Oof,
I would concur.
So Abel wants to get rid of Zach. Yep, shit rolls downhill.
Kurt,
don't cut my Zach Brown stuff out of this podcast, Kurt. Don't be scared.
Well, I want to put the Kurt. What are your thoughts on Zach Brown? We've made ours pretty open.
So I've gone back and forth on him. I remember at the beginning of, I think it was 23, whichever one were there, I can't remember. Whichever one they were absolutely terrible. And I was saying like
22.
They need to get rid of Zach. Zach's got way too much going on. He's trying to run the Indy team, trying to run the WEC team, like all this other stuff. Like, get rid of Zach. He's the problem. And then I see, now they're starting to come back. I kind of disagree with Abel. I think on the surface, we don't really see what Stella does, but I think from all the interviews and stuff that I've seen, it seems like Stella is more of a behind the scenes kind of guy. He's not an in your face, brash personality like Zach Brown is. So Zach's going to come out and seem like the guy that's running the show. But I think that Stella does have a lot of pull. I do kind of agree that Zach should probably take a step back a little bit. Because I think the way that McLaren is being led this year has not worked out. The whole papaya rules and all that. So I would have no issues with Zach's taking a step back.
From a PR and marketing front, that's a step back every time they bring up the papaya rules.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't worked yet this year. Every time they've talked about it, it becomes the big headline. Everybody talks about how bad it is. And he sticks his foot in his mouth a lot. And I feel like that's just his loud brashness. And it's like, it's very American, but it's also to the point where even me and other Americans look at it and you're like, yeah, that's kind of a lot. So I would be all right.
Laurent Mekies is doing an amazing job, and he's doing
Laurent
very
Mekies
quietly.
Is killing it.
Very quietly.
He's killing it over there.
Killing it.
Doesn't matter if you're loud or not. All that matters is the decisions you make in that garage. And I think that that's clearly an example of somebody who's very capable of doing something. You can do it as a team principal, and you don't have to be in the media because it doesn't change shit.
Yeah. I think Zach's kind of on that old school Christian Horner kind of vibe where we see the leadership.
It worked out really well for Christian.
Oh yeah, Christian, you get him on an airplane and give him a phone, put a phone in his hand, and shit goes sideways
really
real quick.
Well.
I have one last thing. I have one last topic. I'm sorry.
All right, let's hear it.
I know we're running out of time, but I have one last topic, and I've been meaning to talk about this for
it's
the better
our
part
podcast. So is there a time limit?
I don't know. I don't know what he's got going on.
We have all night.
He has to be like in the woods and he needs to like go run and go hurt his ankle or something. I don't know what Kurt's got going on tonight.
He's good at that.
Yeah, he is very good at that.
The best.
I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, but I was restricted to yelling at my dashboard because you guys just didn't want to cover this. A while back in an interview, a driver by the name of Kyle Larson made a couple of comments regarding how he felt he fared against what we know to be in my opinion, the current greatest driver on Earth as a racing car driver, as a motorsports driver. And he said that he would beat him. I forgot what the actual interview was, like 9 out of 10 times or something like that. And then there was a podcast with some NASCAR personalities and I mean NASCAR personalities. They literally didn't know shit about like literally anything else other than NASCAR. Probably not even like normal cars, like go-karts or trucks or sedans or Honda Civics. They knew nothing outside of NASCAR. They took the bus basically.
Other than small block Chevys.
Right. And they said, I remember the one guy saying, Max Verstappen's fast in a Formula One car, but you can put Kyle Larson in any car. You could put him in any car. And you can put him in a sprint car. You could put him in a cup car, and he's going to do what he has to do because he can drive, and he's a driver. And so you could put him in any car. And
Ricky Bobby.
I wanted to grab whatever camera he was looking at and shove it down his fat throat when he said it, because the idea that you're going to limit any car is somehow now a sprint car or some sort of a NASCAR or an Indy car. By the way, his Indy car experience is pretty limited. It's not like he just drives Indy car competitively season in and season out. He doesn't do that, but he has.
And you saw what he did with the Indy car, that McLaren.
He crashed, I know, and I don't even hold that against Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson is a great driver. You have no idea how many good drivers, not you specifically, but how many drivers there are that are great drivers that are out there in the world. There's like tons of them, right? So yeah, he can crash, he can do stuff. Kyle Larson's a good driver. But the idea that he's better than Max Verstappen, and that 9 out of 10 times or 10 out of 10 times he would beat Max in any car because you can put Kyle Larson in any car. And then Kevin Harvick, Kevin fucking Harvick. If you guys don't know who that is, he's somebody who currently does podcasts. I think he does it regularly sometimes. He's a former driver. That we have a stadium. I don't know if it's his or if it's just named after him. That's actually like 2 hours away. I pass it when I'm on my way to the racetrack. Named after this guy. And he says that, Kyle Larson would only need a couple of days in a McLaren F1 car to get up to speed.
I believe he said a couple of laps, not even a couple of days.
Did he say laps? I thought he said a couple of days. Whatever. Let's say he said a couple of weeks. It's still fucking stupid. But he said that he needed a couple of whatever to get up to speed to Max Verstappen's pace in a Formula One car. I am here to say, no. You can't. No, absolutely not. While Kyle Larson would absolutely school me and any other guy getting in a car trying to go fast any day of the week, Max Verstappen, you're not going to do it to Max Verstappen. And the thing is that's even, let's call that just a theoretical, whatever, fine. If you think you're better than Max Verstappen, who doesn't? Have a good job with that. Get in your car, go race, and think that you're better. You can do that. When they say that you can put Kyle Larson in any car, but you can't put Max in any car, that's when my blood really boiled, because when you say any car, what do you mean? Are you factoring in Le Mans prototype cars? Are you factoring in GT3, GT4 cars? Are you factoring in any open single-seater open wheel car? I mean, are you just literally saying that all across all motorsports, which I doubt you can even name them, he would be faster? Because from what I can tell, these people only know like NASCAR, Cup car, Sprint car,
car.
Which, by the way, saying that he would beat him in sprint car is like saying that he can go faster than him in mud circles, which I'm like, sure, I'll give you that. I guarantee you, if you flew him down here right now and you put him in a sprint car and you in a sprint car or in a muddy razor and you guys built an oval and said, can you beat me? He'd probably take him a while. He's probably not that good at that because he's busy driving at the highest level of motorsports. So it's like
on concrete.
Whatever. I'll propose this and get your guys' take on it. I'm done with my rant, but I still think that in the past like 3-4 years of motorsport, it's possibly one of the dumbest takes I've ever heard.
I think that right now Kyle Larson has a very unique opportunity to prove this theory and go race in GT3 against Max Verstappen. And let's see what happens.
I think he does.
I think that Max is going to come out on top. I got to put my money in the Verstappen basket on that one.
I think it's just a really stupid comment. Like,
it is.
It's not a classy comment. It's not a professional comment. There's a pick. I don't know that Lance Stroll would make a comment that stupid and be like, I can go down to NASCAR and kick anyone's ass there. Like that's comparing football and rugby. Like to say, Abel, to your point, I can go to any car. That's like saying Tom Brady can go to any sport and win in anything. Give him a soccer ball, he can do it. And it's like that's the
give him a soccer ball in a couple laps.
That's the dumbest comment you could possibly make, and I think to further that point, look at the washout is the word that's coming to mind, but that's probably not fair. But look at the people that can't make it in Formula One or don't do well, or just burn out of it. K-Mag, Giovinazzi, Mick Schumacher. There's a handful of names. They're damn good drivers, and they go down to WEC and they go down to Le Mans and they drive phenomenally, and they were borderline irrelevant in Formula One. I think Formula One is the absolute pinnacle of motorsport. Now, I love the physics of stock car racing. All right. You got a 900 horsepower naturally aspirated 350 Chevy or Ford V8, 4-speed manual transmission on tiny ass tires driving at 220 miles an hour, inches away from each other.
Yeah,
I think that's
impressive.
cool. I don't get the scoring of NASCAR. I don't think the sport itself is very interesting in any way, shape, or form, but you gotta be a hell of a driver to do that. But to say you can go anywhere else and compete, let alone at the pinnacle of motorsport, is
But I mean, even look at that.
absolutely
Even look
laughable.
at that description. And I'm the first one to love a naturally aspirated motor and love V8s and all that. But even hearing you describe that, reading it on paper, it still sounds like a greasy
1985.
double cheeseburger versus like a cappuccino shop. You know what I'm saying? Like it just still sounds like we gonna get in this car, we gonna mess shit up today, right? And then you have a more refined sport. Like no matter how you really spin it, there's a lot of technical aspect there, and I think that NASCAR people just refuse to even kind of look at it. Why we say what we say about Formula One. I completely respect NASCAR. I think that it's a great sport. I think that it's racing, and any form of racing to me is an amazing thing. And I think that there's a lot, it's really difficult, right? Like there's a really weird format there. You have to draft other people. You have to literally bump other people.
Crazy.
There's things you have to
races
team up.
within
Racing,
races.
Harry.
It's crazy. And obviously we know that the playoff format, I think universally, even though I'm not a NASCAR fan, I think it's the world's dumbest thing ever created in racing. But still, even then, the technical aspect of the cars and what these guys have to do in levels of precision in braking zones, in turning and just sustained G-forces when it comes to some of the stuff that they're doing at the speed they're doing it with the downforce, it's not even close to the same thing.
No.
Fucking people, dude. Let me tell you what.
It was like I think back to the it was a spoof video, and I couldn't tell you where it came from, but it was Will Ferrell giving an interview to Eminem, and he was like, so and so says that you suck, and he puts the mic over, and Eminem goes, "Who?" He goes, "So and so." He puts back, he goes,
Yeah.
"Who?" And he's like, "All right, I think we've heard all we need to hear." Like that was the kind of what they asked Max Verstappen. Kyle Larson said this, and he was like, "Who?"
I think he
It's
said
like,
it's
all right, I think
fine or
that's-
something like that. He was just like, that's fine. Like, I don't think he cares. Because I think that he knows, number one, I think he knows he'd beat him in any car. I think he'd whip his ass in a sim. I don't even think you need to go to GP3. I think you just need to meet down the street at World of Racing, hop in two sims next to each other, and just kind of figure out what's what. And I think Kyle's just going to not fare very well against somebody like Max Verstappen. It's the ultimate equalizer. It's same car, same conditions, same everything, same weight. It's all good. I think he'd whip his ass. But obviously, I'm pretty biased. Kyle Larson, take that one home with you. Take that one home with you. I don't like you very much, buddy. But
that's the thumbnail. Kyle Larson.
Hey, if
It was
those
a
guys
really
can sit up on
dumb
that one
comment.
podcast and say what they said, what pissed me off the most about that podcast is they had nobody outside, they had nobody across from them willing to just even be devil's advocate. They wouldn't even ask a question. They would just let him say what he said. And I'm like, you're telling me you had no feelings on it whatsoever? Any car? Any car? No one's going to ask? Well, describe any car. I bet you, I bet you he knew if he asked that guy that question, it would have shut the podcast down and right then and there. Because he would not have been able to describe anything outside of 3 forms of racing.
The best part of it was a week later, he was in an Indy car and put it straight into a wall coming around a corner. Broke the rear axle, and you were like, nope, that's bad timing,
bud. Bad timing.
Bad timing. Kyle Larson's actually a really good driver. He's fast as shit, don't get me wrong, especially in his perspective side of things. But, stay on your side of the fence, man. Just stay over there.
Tony Romo is a phenomenal quarterback. I'd put him up against anyone. It's the same thing.
By the way, do you guys ever get any hate for the name of the podcast? I mean, it's really dominated by pretty much Europe and the other side of the globe. Has anybody ever just commented, "What the fuck is this Formula America? What does that even mean?"
That's the point.
Is that a
That's
thing?
the point, though. Kurt texted me
we
one
want 'em
night
to.
3 years ago, and I'd had a few drinks. He was like, "There's no Formula One podcast
I had also
for
had a few drinks.
Americans." And I was like, I call bullshit on that. And I start Googling. I'm like, well, if there is one, their marketing sucks because I can't find one either. And so we made this, massive. It takes a lot to be a podcaster. I don't think people realize that. You need
You got to take out a small business loan.
Equipment.
Yeah.
So we took a massive risk. I had to remortgage my house. And we started the Formula America
Dude, it
podcast.
took me a solid 33 minutes to set this up. So it's obviously a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah, it was tough. But luckily we made it, and here we are today.
We made it. Here we are.
All right.
Well, I think that's all the topics I have. Yeah, right. I think that was fun, man. Let us know, guys. Let us know what you think about that one. We might keep doing these. I think it was a good time. Let us know if you want Abel to come back. He's clearly doesn't have a filter, so we'll have to keep him after dark.
Or let us know if you hate me, and then I'll still get to come back. So just do one or the other.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring it back.
Just don't do nothing.
It's all gonna be the NASCAR fans. Like, that guy freaking sucks.
I know. It's been only been watching it for 5 years. How dare me?
It's just Kyle Larson commenting.
Sometimes you have to just go the rebellious route. I mean, Hey,
I have a car. The difference is I'll race Kyle Larson. I'll show up at a track. I don't mind going out there and getting my ass whooped for the sake of backing myself up. I'll do it though.
I'd join you guys.
We'll be there.
Time.
We will be there.
Yeah.
Oh,
sponsored
man.
by Formula America.
Abel's getting lapped.
So, do you guys have any closing comments before we close this one out?
Yeah, I think Max is going to do really well for 2026, and War Verstappen. That's all I got.
I think as 2025 was incredibly fun at moments for the Drivers' Championship, but the racing was pretty god awful.
Yeah,
most of the time. And so I think more than anything, I am just excited for a new generation of cars and hopefully some chaos, hopefully some good racing and a few safety cars is all I'm asking for.
I am excited this year to see a new team in Cadillac come onto the grid. We also have Audi coming, but I'm excited to have an actual American team come onto the grid, and I hope that they come out strong. And I will be a fan for sure.
I'm sure they're borrowing Ferrari parts, so we'll see what happens.
I know.
It's funny how we're gonna have that's what I was about to say. It's funny how we're about to have like a collection of different car parts, and then two former drivers that have already been on the grid and are very household names in terms of Formula One go back on the grid. So how new is it really though?
Well,
I get it, but
here's the funny thing: we have two former number 2 drivers. Yeah. Are they going to fight for a number 1 driver role, or are they both naturally going to fall back into their number 2 driver role?
Hey man, I'm number 1. I'm Checo. He's gonna show up with his little shorts.
His Tom Selleck shorts.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we just have to beat Alpine. That's all we have to do.
Okay, yeah. That's a good closing statement. Just really quick. Who do you think is fast? Who do you think is going to be faster? Who do you predict is going to be the faster driver in that Cadillac?
Checo. I think it's Checo.
Just for the fun of it, I'm going to say Bottas, and we can revisit this later this year because
it's 2 against 1 because I'm Mexican, so I have to go with my brethren. We don't have one on there right now, so I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with Checo. We need to bring Mexico back.
Órale, Checo.
Abel, to your point, Kurt and I sitting in the stands in Mexico next to all them fans and asking about that, and they're just like, "You don't understand. Checo is our hero. This is what we are here for." And then he immediately crashed out and he was like, "And now we drink." And you're like, "Yeah."
Everybody was a Checo fan. That was phenomenal.
Everybody was a Checo fan.
Dude, Brazil is amazing. Brazil is the energy there, and the fights are so awesome. There's like a brawl going on every 5 minutes behind you because
the Argentinians versus the Brazilians.
Floating Argentina flags and floating Brazil flags, and they're singing songs. And as they wander close to each other, like little trails of ants, that just get a little too close, and then they hear hear each other's songs and it starts messing up their own song, they start screaming, and then they get closer and closer, and it goes one of two ways. They start brawling and people have to break it up, or you just walk by, you just hear, ole, 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 and then they both just, in a unanimous voice, start supporting Ayrton Senna and just start saying, Senna!
Yeah, Senna.
They're sharing beers and stuff, you know what I mean? It's pretty cool.
That's wild, because in Mexico it's the same song, but it's Checo, Checo.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's easy to interchange that very last part of that song, but yeah, it's cool.
All right, boys. Well, thank you guys
Kurt,
for joining me.
No, Kurt. You didn't have a closing statement, so you have to do
No,
something.
mine was about Cadillac. I'm hopeful that
okay, you're
Cadillac
right.
comes out strong. I'm excited to have a new second favorite team in Cadillac.
Behind Alpine.
Oh, of course. Esteban Ocon. Oh, who's it? Not
Oof.
Alpine anymore.
No, he's not at Alpine anymore. So
No.
I hope Lando Norris becomes a man.
All right, Lando Norris is gonna walk up to Australia with a full freaking beard finally.
Yeah, I know.
Can Lando grow a beard? All right.
He can now. He can now.
But he's got enough money. What do they say? You're not ugly, you're just broke. He's got enough cash.
That's it.
You know what? Touche, good sir. And on that note, stay classy, America.
We'll see you next time.